ישמרך מכל רע, ישמר את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. I just want to say a few words. I didn't actually plan on speaking, but changing my now. Many of you know, some of you know who he is, but many of you don't. I just want to say a little bit about who he was. Special name. I just want to say one point. If you say, talk about Zaidi. If I would call him a Talmid Chacham, you get a picture of a person who's, you get Frank Kanievsky, you get another Adam Gadol in the world. I'm not trying to say he's in that league, I'm not saying who he was, but a Talmid Chacham he definitely was. But he was a different type of Talmid Chacham, he was a unique Talmid Chacham. He was someone that you walk into his house and you find him sitting on a recliner the whole entire day from morning till night. At least that's my only memories of him. He was sitting on a recliner, didn't look like he was harving and learning, didn't look like anything. He just sat there with a Gemara on his lap and learned. And he learned. And I one time asked him when I was younger, I just saw him learning the whole day, and I said, Zaidi, I said, what are you doing the whole day? He says, I'm learning. I said, what are you learning? Are you doing Be'iyah? He says, no, I just learn. I said, you ever get stuck? He's like, yeah, I do Gemara Rashi. I said, and after that, you ever get stuck? He said, yes, I'll do Taisus. I said, you ever get stuck on Taisus? He says, yeah, so that's why they have Rishonim. I have the Maharsha, I have the Rosh, I have people at Rishonim. I said, you go through all the Rosh, all the... No, I just learn. Nothing. I said, you ever finish As? He says, no, I do the same Masechtas again and again. A couple of them that I like. So I went to Babi and I said, Babi, you ever finish As? She said, too many times to count. That's who he was, he said. He just sat there and learned. And why did he learn? Because he just learned. He enjoyed learning. He learned and he learned. And like everyone said about Elda, has played him already, that he had his best times was times he could learn. Every time he got a spare moment, he just sat and learned. And then it didn't look like that he actually cared to learn, because you could stop him whenever you want. You could ask him, you could schmooze with him. He had time for every single person. You could ask him, he would give it out. I'm sure all the grandchildren remember this. Us all sitting around watching the video in front of him while he's learning. So it looks like he didn't care too much, but he sat there and learned the whole time. And you'd think he's watching with you, because he'd get up, he'd feed everyone, every single grandchild, grandson, granddaughter. Gave out ice cream. Yes. Yes. We asked him, Zaidi, can we have ice cream? And he says, yes, let me get up and give all 30 of you, all line up, single file line, going from the kitchen all the way to the dining room. But that's who he was, someone who cared for everyone. He loved every single grandson and granddaughter. He loved every grandson, every granddaughter. He cared about everyone. He had time for everyone. And just didn't take up from his life a life that you meant to learn. I'm not saying who he started off from a completely different life. This is his own background, starting it off from the beginning, and made a huge family of people that are learning now in B'nai Torah and with Torah Ashkafas. And to say how much time I said, I wanted to call him up. I had 2 weeks vacation, which I had nothing to do with. And in the summer, I said, Zaidi, I'm bored. Can I come to your house? He said, yeah, sure. Show up in the morning. I came after Shachris, biked over, and we opened up a Gemara. I'm not saying I was able to learn the whole day, but to learn with him was Yishmak. And we sat there from the morning till supper with a break for lunch and mincha. And then when we finished, I went back home. And he said, so you're going to come back tomorrow? I said, yeah, of course. And we did that for 2 weeks straight. So now he just changed his schedule for 2 weeks straight to learn with one single grandson the entire time from beginning to end. Yeah, we schmoozed and he told me stories, but that's what he was, someone who gave of himself, someone who cared more about other people than it looked at himself. Every grandson shared the same feeling I had towards him. And it's not going to be the same without him. And I hope that you're going to be a meditate share for us. And for all the grandchildren and kids and Bobby. And for any other tzaras that you take over, and for only Simchas.
Shmaya.
Ismail David Adonai Yoel Yachzor Binoz Dashu Yabateni Amay Menuchas Naleni Nafshi Yishov Yachini Magdaseg Leman Shemoi Gam Kielch Begeit Hamavas Lo Yorok Yatei Modi Shiftach Romashantecha Him Nachmoni Tachlofon Shochan Eget Sayroi Tishat of Hashem and Yoshi Kaisivoya After Vechas Yitfuni Koi Mechayoy Vishafti Beis Adonai Liyochimim. I'm not going to speak much. I just want to ask Mechila. I asked Mechila before, but I want to ask Mechila again. For my wife, for my kids, and for the whole family. We all know how special he was. And I want to thank my mother, who put in, for the last 3 months, 24/7 around the clock, together with all the siblings. No reason to mention names, we all know. And I want to ask Mechila if any one of us did anything.
Yossi Timinsky.
I'd like to read a poem written by Mrs. Hajbi. Tati, you were the most special person we knew. Everyone who ever met you knew you were special. The rock of our family, taking care of everyone. In your kindness, you were never turned away. In your quiet manner, you sat in your seat and patiently listened. When people who knew you said you were a Lamed Vav Tzaddik, we knew it was true. We knew you'll still be taking care of us. You'll never leave us alone. You'll be there to listen to us and to plead for us. Just now you're in a different place, a much better one. You look so humble, but behind your quiet appearance, greatness laid. Your eyes and smile spoke of warmth and empathy. You were a person of unlimited compassion and never spoke an unkind word to anyone. If someone was unkind to you, you paid them back with gentleness and compassion. Your Gemara was always near you. You fell, and your Gemara fell with you. And now you are high on top. You're learning with great people next to the Kizei Akava. We love you and will miss you dearly. I was the first one to marry into the Motz family. And I can honestly say that I've witnessed almost 40 years of a man who never did anything wrong, a true tzaddik, but quiet, nobody knew what a great person he was. You built a mishpacha that anyone could be jealous of. I want to ask Mechila, and my family also would like to ask Mechila, in case we didn't respect you properly, give you the proper cover. We're going to miss you dearly.
Ellie.
Just want to add a few things, like I really was maspid yesterday. There were certain traits, Tati, that being the oldest son, I should have copied you, but yet I wasn't able to. You're a person, Tati, that never got angry, and never ever remember being angry. Wasn't shaykh that you should ever be bavlet. Anything anybody did wasn't aflet to you. I remember once that they gave you chosin breishis. I was married, you told me about it afterwards in the other shul. So, you read through what they said about chosin breishis, you goes, that's not for me, that's for, for abundant people who know things. You always felt that you don't need anything, you don't covet. Why in the world should I need covet? You retired at a very young age. You were my age when you retired. And people told you then you should get another job, but what are you going to do with yourself? And you looked at them, all the years you were working, when they asked him, why are you working? What's the purpose of work? The purpose is to retire. So when you retired, that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to just sit all day and learn. I once told you, Lamaisa, you learn without a schayvis. A person needs to be ready. Who needs a schayvis? What do you need a schayvis for? You could sit, a person could just sit and learn. There's no reason to have a schayvis. It was always from your whole life. It's all part of the same shorish. You always felt you were a simple person, a posh the yid. If you're posh the yid, no one can bavel you because you're nothing big. If you're posh the yid, that's the whole day, simple. I could sit and learn by myself. I don't need any schayvis. The Eibishter made a Torah. I could sit and learn. There's no reason not to. COVID? Where am I? Who needs COVID? Where am I? Remember that you had once a sichsuch with someone who worked there, a friendly sichsuch. Guy asked him that you're sitting in work hours and officially you're supposed to be working then. You're supposed to be sitting on, who says you can learn then? So he asked him, what are you doing now? So everybody there was sitting and reading the paper. So you're laughing to yourself. Working, there's nothing to do. Read a paper, if you could sit and learn, why should you read a newspaper? All the time, Tati, we're learning is, was always together. Always made it feel like, because why should I do something else? What else is there to do? That's why when people came to speak to you, you had all the time in the world for them to take grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You always made it that your learning was, it's just nothing else to do. If someone needs my help, wants to speak to me, and then the advice, your chizik, was always unlimited. And one time I was telling you that, even when you spoke about chizik, I was one time telling you, Tati, I was telling you that I was having a hard time with parnosa. So he started giving me chizik about betoch, and then he tells me, you know all that already. There's nothing that I can add to tell you. But you did add because by you it was ingrained. Maybe be a dear, I knew it, but you felt it. You felt taka the betoch, and you felt that you knew when years ago, when you lost my younger sister, after a while, you were just able to say Bashat. And that's it. It's finished. That was okay, Makabel. Because deep down, from the people, we know if the Abish did it, that's the right thing. Wednesday, I just want to ask Mechila, for me, we never gave you proper derech eretz. You never demanded any derech eretz, but still, it's not an excuse, we never gave you any derech eretz. Me, the rest of the family, the way, at least the way you deserve. We were very happy the last few months to do with the whole family. That's what the whole family was so happy. Everyone did such besimcha to be able to take care of you the last few months, because until you had a stroke, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing we were able to do to take care of you. For the whole family. For me, my children, my wife, my children, and all my sisters and brothers, and all the children and grandchildren. Should be made Moy Mels Yosef, and should be Bila Mavas and Netzach Moshe, Hashem Koponim, Chatos Ami Evik Yeshem Tiber.
Sorry.
It says in Parshas Balak, when Bilam is giving a nevuah, and he's going through all the miles of Klal Yisrael, and the reason why it's not shaykh b'chlal to give Klal Yisrael a klal, one of the things Bilam says is because Kimresh Tzumei Reno Mikvois Ashirena. Rashi's Masber, and Mistakam Rishayim, and he really some Chazakum Yisadim like Kivvois Lo. They always remote that when you have when you see such a binyan, when you see a beautiful tree, a strong tree, with Paris and everything, you know that there must have been a sherish. Not just, there must have been a root. And what was the root? Strong, it had to be rooted strong like a mountain. When you have a root which is rooted firmly in the ground like a mountain, then it's possible to have such a strong tree. What does it mean, a sherish, which is which is that's a root which is firmly rooted? Chazal say in Ovis, anything that has shroshim rubim, what's shroshim rubim? As many, it's strongly rooted. Feel kovol shabelim ein maziz noisei. A firm root means, come what may, any matzav, any ruach, the strongest winds can't budge an inch. That's a sherish. That's what Bilam saw in Klal Yisrael. If you see Klal Yisrael, there must have been a sherish. What's a sherish? There must have been the Avos who were strong in the ways of Hashem. Nothing can budge them. If you see a family with children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, who live a life up here at Ratzah Hashem, up here Torah, there must have been a sherish. Zaidi, by all accounts, was a sherish. Nothing can budge him. It could have been the ruchais of Chicago growing up in a completely natural environment. It didn't make a difference. Nothing could budge him from holding strong in his shmiras and mitzvahs. No influence from the surroundings. He was holding strong. He was doing his thing. It could have been the ruchais of during lunch break by working in office in New York, singing your Gemara. He could have been the middle of this medrash. What's the difference if you're sitting next to some business partners, you're sitting in this medrash next to people learning? It didn't make a difference because Zaidi was a sherish. I remember one time we were schmoozing about his career, and he was saying how he worked for the city for many years, and at one point the union, they had to give him a job. They didn't have a job for him, so they assigned him to a desk which there was no work to do over there, just to give him a job. He said that was the best part of his whole career. So I said, what do you mean the best part of your career? You had a lot of exciting stuff. There's just, sitting by a desk doing nothing. He's like, what do you mean I could learn the whole time? It's the same thing as this measures, because his kol shmilim didn't make a difference. He was so firmly rooted in what he did that every matter was just simple, learning, mitzvahs, everything. It didn't make a difference. It could have been the ruchais of the weather in New York, raining, sunny. It could have been sick. Came time for mincha, he was there. Ma'ariv, he was there. Because he was so strong by him, it didn't make a difference. Every matzah, he was always doing what he was supposed to do. Part of being a sherish, it wasn't just like he had this, big thing by him that, I never miss minyan, and he's all proud of it, and he always made sure he has this thing that he never, it was just very matter of fact, because if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. When someone by them, Torah's mitzvahs is more of a theoretical concept, Like, it's just a book of rules that we have to do. There's always more wiggle room. I'm not telling them I am feeling well, I'm up to excuses. But when someone's a sherish, when someone, it's just who they are. It just defines them. That's his identity. It was just so simple, so matter of fact. It didn't make a difference what Matzah was in. It was just like, if the halacha is you have to go down now, you have to go down now. It wouldn't make a difference to Matzah because it was such a part of him. It was just who he was. It wasn't even, one time Yossi was telling me when they were in his house, one time on Rosh Chodesh, he saw Zaidi shaving. So he asked him, isn't it Rosh Chodesh? Zaidi said, drop the shaver, half shaven, and he didn't think about it again the rest of the day, because it wasn't like, now I'm half shaven, check in the mirror, maybe I tear him, it's only 12 Yudei Chassid, I'm not descendant anyways. It's anyway covered by bris, because it's just, halachas weren't theoretical, just, that's who he lived, that was his identity, that's how he was, just, everything was matter of fact, just what you have to do. We do have so when you have someone such a strong sherish, Kol Ruach Shabbatim can't move him. Dafka from such a person could grow such a big tree. How is it possible to have such a strong sherish? They didn't grow up the way we grew up. And to be, from such a young age, to be so strong, and to just make his whole identity, his whole mitzvah, just Torah, just a Shulchan Aruch. That's me see by Avram Avinu. Chazal say, Kol Olam Bevracher, Avram Avinu Bevracher. Avram, the whole world, the tide at that point in time was Avodah Zarah. And Avram Avinu, nothing fazed him. He went his own way. He did what he had to do. It didn't make a difference what the rest of the world was doing. And not only that, but he was even Hikras Bari at 3 years old. And this wasn't like, sometimes 3-year-olds, they pick up things because that's what people around them are doing. He had the whole world doing one thing, and at 3 years old, he picked up to the opposite. How did he get such a madrigo? So, the Chazal Masber, because Avram Avinu was Amud Chesed. Avram Avinu, his whole life, nothing was about him. It was about other people. It's always about somebody else. Somebody whose life is about himself, you can't just go make Hashem part of you. Someone whose life is all about other people, always think about, there's nothing about him, it's always about other people, there's room for Hashem in such a person's life. Such a person can make his whole mitzvahs, the whole mitzvah is just a Torah and the mitzvahs, and even go against the tide of the whole world. There are people in the world who are takers. They always trying to take from other people, they always, what can you do for me? Then there are people in the world who aren't such takers, they're more self-sufficient, they're not always looking for what other people do for them. Then there's a third dargo. Then someone's a giver. Zaidi was a giver. Whenever he walked into Zaidi's house, it was always, what can I do for you? Could I offer you some ice cream, some soda? Could I give you something to eat? It was always, what can I do about you? At the same time, he never expected anything from anybody. He took everybody who they were, very not judgmental, and he expected nothing. I remember we used to go build a sukkah. So it was like, for us it was routine, we come build a sukkah. And every year, he's always so apologetic, and always so, and I remember sometimes he used to come inside the backyard and say like, maybe I could help you carry a board, maybe I could also do something. And like, we always tell him like, we're your grandchildren, it's chus, we don't mind doing it. He never wanted it, he was always, because that was who he was. He wasn't a taker, he was a giver. The biggest simcha he always had was his Gemara. And the biggest nachas he had to him was when his grandchildren were learning. That was the only thing he cared about. You couldn't give Zaidi anything because he didn't need anything. The only thing that could make that he got hana from, it wasn't food, it wasn't vacations, was learning. And he was always happy because he always had what he needed. I was zeicha for a few years. We went every Sunday. It wasn't just me. It was many grandchildren who were Zaidi over the years. And I was a little kid. I was in, I think, 5th grade when we started. And I used to space out a lot of times because that's what little kids do. And some adults. And a lot of times we have to back up, say it again. I never ever remember him losing his patience. Like, why don't you just focus? It was so not critical, so not judgmental, always just so happy, so I'll say it again, learn it again. And we used to make siyumim in Benser's a few times. He was always so happy to come. It made him so happy. And then we used to sometimes, one time I said, what's news in the family? Always, this grandson may see him on this, he may see him on that. I remember one time he told me that one of the grandchildren, I think that was in 1st grade or something, may see him on a certain parsha, chumash. That was the only thing he needed, and that's what he had. He was always happy with it. She was made yosher for Bobby and the whole family. Bilmos and that's a Dima Malco Payadam, yes, is Machabas Malco.
Zaidi considered himself a very simple person, although everybody that knew him knew he was nothing close to that. He never bragged about anything, he never boasted about anything he did, just stuck to his simple life, eating popcorn, shaving, giving out ice cream and learning. One thing I heard Zaidi brag about many times was, I don't remember, if anybody remembers the name could remind me, was the one, he joked around about the fact that his Talmud from Chicago became a big rebbe in New York. That was his claim to fame. Like, he always laughed about it. He walked down 16th Avenue and this rebbe, Rav in Borough Park, came over to him and screamed, Rebbe, Rebbe. I can remember the story. He never missed a minyan, as far as he could help it. My father said yesterday, it's 2 feet of snow outside, he still walked the shul. Even if he couldn't walk, he'd have somebody help him. Yesterday morning, I was in shul in Chaver B'nai Yisrael in Borough Park, and one of the Gabayim, Shmaya Morgan, told me, here's Zaidi, without a question, daven in this shul more than anybody else in the shul, and probably put together. He said he never missed a minyan. He was here every single day, Sunday through Friday, Shabbos. He never missed it. Every single morning, Shachris, every mincha, every ma'ariv. And he didn't stay. He went back and forth. Winter, summer, spring, fall. Bobby also. Up until recently, Bobby, I can't remember a Friday night or Shabbos morning that Bobby missed davening. Bobby wouldn't go away for more than a couple weeks because she had to be back in her shul for Rosh Chodesh benching. Up until recently, she wouldn't come here. It was a miracle that she came to Eretz Yisrael for a few months because she doesn't have her shul here. And Bobby and Zaidi both, their whole lives were around the shul and around learning. I remember the hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, that I remember walking in and Bobby and Zaidi sitting and learning together. Just the other night, Thursday night, Bobby was telling Zaidi, Harvey, you're gonna wake up, and you got your cataract surgery, so you're gonna go back to shul and you're gonna start learning again Monday and Thursday, and you're not gonna have a problem seeing, and we're gonna start learning again, Navi, Mishnayos, Halacha, and they must have finished many not Masechtas Gemara, I mean many Agadata. The only people that go out of the way to learn on Tisha B'Av is Bobby and Zaidi. On behalf of the whole family, we'd like to thank all the doctors, nurses, hundreds of nurses, specifically a few. Dr. Banders, the last couple weeks, around the clock, putting together a team of the best doctors in New York to do everything he could to get Zaidi back on his feet. Dr. Marison, Dr. Zdanowitz, Dr. Leibowitz, where he spent a long time in Lakewood. All the nurses and the nurses, I've never seen anything like it. Unfortunately, I've been to many hospitals where somebody was nifter, and Matzah Shabbos, the other night, the hospital hall was lined up. The family was standing on one side crying, and behind the desk there was doctors and nurses bawling their heads off. You don't see it; it's unheard of. But Zaidi made a major impact. Even when he couldn't make an impact, he made a major impact. Bobby's dedication to Zaidi for the last 3 months was unbelievable. It's something that every single person could learn from. May Zaidi be a Melech Yasher for everybody in the family. We ask Mechil on behalf of the whole family, some that are here, some that couldn't make it. If we ever did anything wrong, if we ever said anything wrong, if the video we were watching was more important than the piece of chicken you were holding on the fork for 10 minutes until we decided to open our mouth. Malcha Hashem Elokim Dim Michael Panim. Amen. B'chtamud David, Shomreini El Ki Chasisi Bach, Amart L'Adonai Ata, Toivasi Yibal Alecha, L'Kdoshim Asher Ba'aretz Imo, V'adirei Kol Chavti Bam, Yirvu Atzvoisam Acher Moharu, Balasich Niskeye Midam, Uvaleseh Shmoisam Al Svasoi, Adonai Minas Chelki V'choisi, Ata Toimech Gayrali, Chavalim naflu li banimim, af nachala shofra loi, avarech es Adonai asher yotzoni, af leilois yisru nichli yoisoi, shivisi Adonai linegdisa, mirki mimini balemoyit, L'chein samach libi vayogel kivoidi, av besari shkoi lovetach, ki lois azoiv nafshi lisho, lois itein chasidcha, l'rois shochas, Toy the Eliyah Chaim Soivas Mochais Benachon Imo Is B'Milchonetzach.
אנחנו נמלודנו. בעיניים עלינו לא יחיינו עלינו עלינו זה בברית של יאלך, מגיעת רשת צבוע, עם ליפו נזית באלף. Kaddish? Amen. Amen. Shebe Seiserem Seisadai Segon. לא יזרום מתחת דוילה וחצי ובמלום דבר ואבן יעלום וקטם ושוב צהריים ויפוהם מצדך אלף וברומה במינךו אינך לא יגוס רק ואינך תביט בלחד השם תראה כי אתה אדוני מחסי אל ישתיים חמינךו לא יצורני אליך רבנגל לא יקרב ועליך כי מלוכו ויצא ולא לשמור ובכל זרוחךו גם כפיים תקלום וחופת תגוי באבן רגליךו אז חגלו אוי רחמי יודע ברבי שוסי יושב בסייסר עליון מצל האיסלינון אוי מר לדינוי מחסים צודו סילה אבטח בוי כי הצלחונים פריק פשלבר הבויס בברוסו יוסך לך מסר הסנובור תחשב תינוק צריך נעמיתוי לא יסירו מפחד לא יום חיצוף עמום נדבר בוי פניה לא מקטע ושות צהריים יפועל מצדך אלף ובובו ממינךו אינך לא יגוס רק מינך תביט ובשבים תראה כי אתה אדוני מחסי אין יצמתו ממינךו לא יצרונה את החברה בנגל לא יצחת בעולךו כי מלוכו ויצא ולוך לשמורכו בכל זרוחךו על כפיים יצרון וחפש ידי ואגן רגליךו על כך על בופסם תדרו יש כלמוי שנות התנים שיהיה חשק והפנתהו של יהו כי ידע אחרי יצרואינו ועינינו ותשמע חפשו וחפשו אוי רחמי יודע ברבי שוסי גם יום בן מעלה ללוינר אדוני נתן אדוני לקוח ישעים אדוני מברך והוא רחום יכפר רבוינו לא ישקיז ניר בו לא שנפוי ולא יעיר כל כמוסוי אמן אפשר לעזור באמצע, לפי את המרחב. אפשר לעבור פה באמצע? ויקרא בשם אדינוי. ויעבור אדינוי על בונו ויקרא. אדינוי, אדינוי, אין רחום הגדול. אין רחם יפת ובנס.
הרגע הזה לקחנו את האיידן
עוד מעט כולם יהיה. עצור תומים פה, לא יגיחון רחון משמות, אין אמונו ואינו וצדיק ויושרו. עצור תומים בכל פויל, מי יאמר לו מה תפעול. השליט במטו ומעל, מימיז ומחיים ורגשול ויועל. עצור תומים בכל מעשה, מי יאמר לו מה תעשה. אוי מו ואוי שכל זתחינום לא תעשה. וסוסני כתכסה הקשיבו ועשה. צדיק בכל רוחו, עצור תומים ברחפיים ולרחמים. חמוי לו ואחוז לו עלו בו יסופונים כלפורדו ינס לכויס לו רחמים. צדיק התרעת עיני לאומיס ולאחיויס, אשר ביוצרו בין כל רוחויס. פולי לו לכל זכרו עיני, ונפקויס גויינו אינך ברחמים עלינו כיחויס, כי לכו דוינו רחמים ואסליחויס. אודום אם בן שונו יהיה 1000 שנים יחיה, מה ישראל לוי כלוי אויו יהיה, ברוך דיונו אמס מימיס ומחיה. ברוך הוא כנס בינו משלת את הכל בינו, ומשלם לאודום חשבונו ביתינו, והכל ישמור אותו יויתנו. יודענו עד עיני כצדק משפטךו, תצדק בצדקך ותזכה בשופטךו, ואין לערערך עמידה שופטךו. צדיק אתה עד עיני ויושר משפטךו. דיון אמש וצדק ואמס, ברוך דיונו אמש שכל משפטו צדק ואמס. אפס כל חי ויודךו צדק כמו ימינך ויודךו. רחם על מידת סוים יודךו בסוים הרלמה לו ערב יבוא. לא יצא ורב עלו יושר אינוכו פתוחו יש על כל דרכי בני אדום. שעושה את זה איש כדרוכו וחפנים מעל הלוב להגיד כאושר אדינוי צורי ולאו לא סובוי. אדינוי לא סון ואדינוי לא כוחי שם אדינוי ובירוך. והוא רחום ירפא רבוין ולא ישקיס וירבו לו שיבה פוי ולא יועיר כל חמוסוי. יסקדל יסקדל שמקבו יומדו עושה לסחרצו לחיות מסעיו לסחרץ סוין לחיי אומו ולבני קרקודי ומשלם ושחרר את חולים בגבות ומלקח וחנות נוכרו מהגו ולכתובו חולחונות ונשמע יום לעשו ימלך קודשו וילכו במחוסי ביקורי יתמך קורקוני ביקורי משיחי וחיי חודים יומי חודים וחיי דבו בייס ישראל Bible love is man koyim imru amen Yisadom, Yisarem, Yisarol, Shmei Dukadisha, B'Yidu, V'Yelo Minko B'Choso, V'Shivoso, Tishbuchoso, V'Nechamoso, Daviyon V'Yomo, V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemayo, V'Chayim Koyim Aleinu, Kol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. V'Yaseh Shalom V'Maymo, V'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Kol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. יהושע אשל בשמואל יעקב, בשם החבר קדישה, בשם המשפחה, הקרובים, הידידים והמלווים, אנו מבקשים ממך סליחה ומחילה, שם חס וחלילה פגענו בכבודך, הן בטהרה בנשיאת המיטה ובתיקון הקבר, אנא סלח לנו כאין זו אין השגגה. החבר קדישה נהגה איתך כמנהגי ירושלים עיר הקודש. היה מליץ יושר עבור משפחתך, קרוביך וידידיך, ועבור כל כלל ישראל בכל תפוצות ישראל. וייתן השם ויגעו לו עמו בסלו נצח, ומוך השם אלוקים דימו מעל כל פונים, ובוא לציון גואל במהרו בימינו אמן. ילך בשלום, ושנוח בשלום, ושמו את גבולו לקיץ היומים. כשנצא מחוץ לחלקה בכביש, נעשה 2 שורות דברים וניחומי דין לבנים. את הבת מלחמים בלי שור.
Be home. What time do we come home? 4:30. Nice, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home.
לא, עכשיו כבר אפשר, אין בעיה. בזמן הלוויה לא הולכים. בלוויה. לקבר אפשר ללכת, בלוויה לא הולכים. okay, ich glaube schon.
Yeah.